I run a launch platform called TinyLaunch for indie hackers to showcase their products and get early users, and I recently acquired the .com domain for TinyLaunch for $3,200, which is more than I've ever spent on anything in my life. And this is the story of how, and most importantly why, I would spend that kind of money on a domain name. Just for context, the previous domain was a domain hack, so my product is called TinyLaunch, so I bought the Swiss CH top-level domain with the name TinyLawn, so together TinyLawn plus CH is TinyLaunch, which is nice and short, but just out of interest, I wanted to check if the tinylaunch.com domain is available, and I was redirected to atom.com, which is a domain marketplace where tinylaunch.com was being sold for $3,200. In my opinion, that was way too much money, so I just took a screenshot because I thought it was so ridiculous and I posted it on X, but to my surprise, quite a lot of people said it was actually not that bad and I should go for it. While I didn't take them seriously at first, my mind changed after thinking about it a little bit more. So what were the reasons for spending that kind of money on a name? First of all, owning the .com domain lends your business more credibility. While lots of people in our bubble are used to non-standard TLDs like .so or .io, .com domains make your business come across as more legit. Hopefully, the added credibility will also translate into more sales on TinyLaunch, so let's see how things develop from here. There's some people who take it to the extreme and they say they would never buy any domain that's not the .com, and if it's not available or way too expensive, they have to change the name of their startup. I'm not that extreme on that stance, but I do see the benefits of owning that domain name. Secondly, I wanted to protect my brand name, because if I don't own the .com and somebody else buys it, they can put on there whatever they want. And if people get confused and they think they're on my site, but they access the tinylaunch.com site, then whatever the owner of that domain puts on that site might hurt my brand, and even if it doesn't, it at least will lead to confusion for my potential users. And this is actually a very big thing, because I guarantee that lots of people who try to access TinyLaunch have just entered tinylaunch.com in the address bar, and they were surprised to find that there's nothing there. Sure, probably a lot of them will realize their mistake and find other ways to find TinyLaunch, for example from my X profile page, but there's no way that every last one of them found their way to my site, and some of them will have just given up, which means less visitors, less users, and less revenue. Some people also said that owning the .com domain is better for SEO and you somehow rank higher on Google. I haven't looked into it and I'm not sure if it's true. Actually, I kind of don't believe it, but enough people told me about it that I'm gonna look into it, and maybe there's something to it, and if there's something to it, I'm in a good spot to take advantage of that. The next point is actually the reason why I decided to get the domain right now and not down the line, because I wasn't actually in a hurry to switch to the .com domain right away. But if I don't buy it now, the owner might realize that TinyLaunch is doing quite well and then rack up the price, and then either I can never get it and live with the downsides that I've just discussed, or I'm gonna have to pay a much higher price, which I of course don't want to do. And actually, in the grand scheme of things, $3,200 is a lot of money, but it's not that much money compared to what other .com domains go for. People regularly pay 10, 20, 30,000 US dollars for a domain, or even millions if it's like a hyper premium domain. If TinyLaunch keeps growing, I'm sure the price could rise to like 10, 20, 30k for tinylaunch.com as well, so I'm happy to put this behind me and just own that name right now. And lastly, I just think it's cool to own the .com domain. I think tinylaunch.com looks nice and sounds nice, and sometimes you don't need a 100% logical reason to do something. If I think it's cool, I'm just gonna do it. So all of these reasons together convinced me to make the investment. So now that I made the decision to go for the domain, I went to atom.com, which is the domain broker that was holding the domain at that time. And even though the listed price was $3,200 US dollars, I put in an offer at $750, hoping to anchor a much lower price and then meet somewhere in the middle. But the offer was immediately rejected, as they usually start negotiation at 50% of the listed price, so I was still only talking to customer support. But since I really wanted the domain, I was okay with paying 50% of the listed price, and I put in an offer at 50%, and they said, okay, we'll contact the seller and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then after a few days, I got an update that the seller is not willing to lower the price, and the domain was even scheduled for a price increase. To be honest, looking back now, I'm not sure if this was just a negotiation tactic, but it definitely worked on me, because for me, the domain was actually worth $3,200 US dollars, and I didn't want to risk a price increase or losing the domain to someone else. I'm I'm sure someone more skilled than me could have maybe gotten it a little bit cheaper, but since Tiny Launch already generated more than 10,000 US dollars, for me it was like, okay, I'm not putting in my own money, it's paying for itself, it's worth it if Tiny Launch keeps growing, so I just said, okay, let me go ahead and buy it at the listed price. So now the domain is currently in transfer to me, and I'll set it up in the next few days, and starting from that point, you'll be able to access Tiny Launch on tinylaunch.com. There are still some problems I'll have to solve, because the existing Tiny Launch domain with the domain hack already has a domain rating of 61, which is quite high, and the new domain of course has nothing close to that. So I'm wondering what's the best way to transfer that domain rating, if I even want to do that at all. So I'll have to see who will redirect to who, and maybe ask for some backlinks to Tiny Launch to be updated to the new domain. I'm gonna make a plan for that and see that it works out as smoothly as possible, but it's definitely something that I'll have to think about a lot. So if you've ever done anything like this and you'd like to help out, feel free to leave a comment, I'd really appreciate it. So this was all for this week's video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. I'm still at the very beginning of this YouTube journey, so it would really help out a lot. And other than that, keep shipping and see you guys next week.